Live from Duluth, this is Talkin' Sports.
Good evening and welcome to another edition of Talkin' Real on Talkin' Sports. I'm David James, he's Brian Dunseth, and you are hardcore. If you're an RSL fan, join us tonight after the heartbreaker last night. You're all in. Dunny, RSL desperately needed a win against the Portland Timbers, but it was the Timbers who created better chances and more chances early on with their counterattack.
Yeah, and that's what it really was. It was about the counterattack. It was a transition play. It was the speed in which the formation was built by Caleb Porter to get more numbers going forward. Guys like Lucas Milano, Diego Valeri, Nagbe. This team came out with a purpose and at times made life very, very difficult for Real Salt Lake defensively.
Take a look at the highlights. More quality chances created all night long. 21st minute, Diego Chara plays it ahead. Diego Valeri running it down on the right side. The cross just out of the reach. Oh, just in the reach there. Adi, he had another one where he was on the far post, but here on the near post, it's a Ramondo save.
Well, and Portland does a great job overloading the flanks, finding the space, wide play, early balls, early service. Fernando Adi opens up his foot. Great reaction save from Nick Ramondo.
44th minute. Portland creating another quick chance there. Valeri springing Adi, but look at that, Nick Ramondo.
Well, dying seconds of the first half, Real Salt Lake had decent opportunities, but a simple touch in behind, and watch how quickly Fernando Adi gets in behind. Jamison Olave, another huge save by Ramondo to keep it 0 heading into the halftime break, but you could see elements of difficulty for the two center backs dealing with the size and the pace of the Portland Timbers.
52nd minute, here's where the match turns. Long ball ahead for Portland. Lucas Milano runs onto it. Chased down by Jamison Olave and Dunny. Everything changed.
Well, watch the referee in that upper corner. As he floats to the corner flag, that is an indication to the center referee that the foul was inside the box, but it wasn't. Jamison Olave right now commits the foul outside the 18-yard box. Absolutely a red card. In no way, shape, or form should this be a penalty kick. It's a horrific decision, not only from the center referee, but the assistant referee, and it completely changes the game.
Adi takes a PK, Ramondo leaning the wrong way.
Nick Ramondo goes left. Fernando Adi goes to his right-hand side. Calm, cool, collected, keeps it on the deck. Portland up 1-0.
69th minute, RSL chasing the equalizer. Down a man, Jordan Allen to Juan Manuel Martinez to Javier Morales. It's a great save by Adam Quarce.
Yeah, Quarce had 2 good saves in the first 45 minutes and was called to test 3 times in the second half. Great ball from Javier Morales. Unhooks his hips, keeps it on frame. Quarce just tips it up and over the crossbar.
Stoppage time, still 1-0. Justin Glad getting forward on the wing to Javier Morales, and the shot takes a deflection. Quarce's there.
Again, Quarce, as he goes down to his right-hand side, that big left arm kind of throws it forward, comes off his left forearm. Another huge save for Quarce. That is his 13th shutout in 32 games played. Such a great addition for the Portland Timbers, as once again, they take the full 3 points at Rio Tinto Stadium from Real Salt Lake.
FC Dallas beat Vancouver 2-0 last night, while RSL was losing 1-0. Dallas now in excellent shape to get a bye through the first round of the playoffs. The Galaxy are second, a point in front of the Whitecaps. Sporting KC fourth. Sounders and Timbers holding down the 5th and 6th, the final 2 playoff spots. San Jose now below the line. RSL 6 points back with 2 games left in the MLS regular season. And we talked about this a little bit after the game. It's pro sports. When you miss the playoffs in pro sports, usually change is coming, and usually that means somebody, player, assistant coach, head coach, GM, but usually somebody or somebody's paid with their job.
It's the reality of professional sports, absolutely. And listen, we've been talking about it all season long. From the start of the year, the fact that this group has lost over 800 games of experience in Major League Soccer with expansion and early trades, guys like Nap Orchards, Will Johnson a few years ago, Chris Winger, Ned Grabavoy. The fact that you lost the Rocky Mountain Cup, the fact that you were knocked out of the semis of the U.S. Open Cup, the fact that Rio Tinto Stadium's really lost that aura of being the Riot, being this place where there was no way a team was going to come in and steal points. The playoff race, I think overall the mentality this year was strong in a lot of ways. Injuries, international call-ups, all of those excuses come into play in some way, shape, or form. But the bottom line is, regardless of everything that happens, all the circumstances that teams deal with, if you don't make the playoffs, changes are made. And right now, at this point of the year, you're playing for 2 things. You're playing for pride, you're playing for your job, And I think the one positive as a group is that you're still playing for CONCACAF Champions League quarterfinals, which is, the reality is you're not playing next season in CONCACAF Champions League in the group stage. So you better make the most out of it, and making the most out of that means playing in the quarterfinals.
All right, so for RSL now, can you figure where the change is coming? Can you see some obvious areas, or do you think it depends on what teams across the league want to do, and you got to see what players are interested in moving internationally? Soccer's a little different than, you know, NBA, NFL, and what we're used to.
I think you take the international side out of the equation with this particular group of players. I would say then you start focusing on the veteran leadership, not because of the play, but the financials that come along with the veteran status. And some of these players are making significant amounts of money. And how do you ultimately strengthen a squad? Because the bottom line is a lot of young players had opportunities this year. A lot of fringe players had opportunities this year, and they weren't good enough in a lot of situations. So it will be fascinating to see, with a new general manager and Craig Weibel having a summer transfer window underneath his belt, having a draft underneath his belt, how he transitions into this offseason. And ultimately, when you don't make the playoffs and you have a little bit more of allocation money to spend, what players do other teams want? And that's where the money comes into play. And
there'll be players out of contract, and they'll have a hand in the decision-making process, depending on what they want to do.
Yeah.
All right, 2 MLS matchups remain before we get to the offseason and all the drama and decisions there. First up, RSL hosting FC Dallas on Saturday. The regular season MLS finale is at Seattle a week from Sunday. And in between those two matchups, there's the finale, CONCACAF Champions League, Group G, Municipal visiting the Riot on Tuesday. RSL needs a win or a draw to win the group and advance to the knockout round. And now that RSL is out of the playoff race, how will Coach Jeff Cassar handle the lineup going forward?
We need to sit down as a staff, sit down as a team, and discuss it and go from there. Right now, we just need to, concentrate on getting as much energy back as possible, and we'll see what we can do.
Too soon. Too soon, Dunny. I asked too soon. Got to let him decompress after the game. That was a few minutes after the game in the post-game show. Give it a night to sleep on it. Give it a chance to talk to the staff. What will Jeff decide? I think if it were me, I'd probably rest several key players Saturday and get them ready for the most meaningful game left on the schedule, the Champions League game in Municipal Tuesday. What would you do, given the opportunity to decide?
You know, I think this is a very, very difficult decision for head coach Jeff Cassar. I've always been of the impression as a player that I want to be on the field no matter what.
Oh, I'm sure.
And it doesn't matter if it's a Saturday game with a Tuesday game around the corner. This is about pride right now. This is about pride. And I think a lot of these players are recognizing that individually they're playing for jobs, but also collectively they're playing for the badge that's on the chest. In terms of what Jeff will do, I would probably think that he's going to mix and match and try to find the best possible 11. Jamison Olave is not available because of the red card, so he's going to be fresh for Tuesday no matter what.
Injured,
Plata's injured. He's probably going to miss both games. So again, it's a great opportunity for maybe some young players to get a chance. I'm really fascinated to see Saturday morning what this group looks like coming off the backside of the final training session Friday afternoon.
All right, let's show you the Champions League standings. RSL advances to the quarterfinals with a win or a draw. Municipal has to win to advance, but they win all the tiebreakers. So any victory, 1-0, 2-1, it doesn't matter. They all get Municipal through to the quarterfinals, and Santa Tecla is already eliminated. Now, RSL beat Municipal 1-0 in the CONCACAF opener on a Plata goal. I assume you like RSL's chances, although they could be without Plata, but with or without him, you like their chances Tuesday.
Yeah, I do. I think it's going to be a very fascinating group for Municipal. I think it's a team that is incredibly dynamic, incredibly athletic. But again, this is CONCACAF. I mean, make no mistake about it. You're going to see the diving, the role playing. You're going to see them going after the referees. You're going to see the referees biting in and looking to give out yellow cards and fouls and whistles. And this is going to be a Municipal team that's going to come to Rio Tinto Stadium and do absolutely everything that they're possibly capable of doing to get 3 points. And it is going to be ugly at times. But listen, we will find out exactly what's going to happen.
A berth of the quarterfinals next spring on the line, and also for the teams in MLS in advance, they get bonus allocation money.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
It'll help RSL make personnel decisions and have a little extra something
Yeah,
there.
well, listen, and speaking of personnel decisions, when you look at this weekend coming up, FC Dallas on the road, I want you to look at one player in particular, a guy named Fabian Castillo, and before we get started, I'm just going to highlight him. Colombian international, called up to the full Colombian national team for World Cup qualifiers, and you'll see the elements of why he's given that opportunity. Here's the goal that he scored against Real Salt Lake earlier this year down in Dallas, and speed, strength, athleticism, the recognition, incredible for a young player and how quickly he's developed underneath Oscar Pareja. And again, to be a World Cup qualifying player for Colombia is no short order. I also want you just to see how quickly when he's in wide spots, bottom of your screen, the way he opens up and that speed to get in behind the defense and that little ingenuity with that final touch, the skill to be able to break down a back four and then also punish that back four. Anytime the ball's on the right-hand side, his ability to open up and stay wide in the left-hand flank. If he wants to pinch in, available. But if he wants to stay wide and get isolated, incredibly, incredibly dangerous. So take a look at the starting 11 for FC Dallas. I would expect them to look very much like they have in the previous two games, except with the injury to Kellen Acosta. Look for Sirigliano, the Argentine, to come in alongside Victor Ulloa. Victor Ulloa, in my opinion, one of the best defensive midfielders in this league as he continues to develop. Michael Barrios will get up underneath. Tesho Akindele will look to cut inside. It'll be a very, very dangerous FC Dallas squad. The questions, though, for Real Salt Lake, a lot of questions. I'm going to go with the approach with this starting 11 that Jeff Cassar is going to rest the majority of his players to set them up for Tuesday night against Olympia. Look for DeMar Phillips getting up and down that side. Boyd Aquanu, who was called into the U.S. under-23s, it was a starting right back. He'll get his opportunity. Vasquez comes in alongside Justin Glad. You'll have Silva flaring out one side. Luis Gil will look to be an impact player. But Bofo Salcedo, Omes Garcia, opportunities for them up front in wide spots with the big Devin Sandoval. A lot of question marks. I think ultimately with this starting 11 right now for Jeff Cassar, if he elects to go with a quote-unquote second team to prepare for Tuesday, I would expect that starting 11 that I just showed you to be, for the most part, the type of group that he would trot out against Dallas, which is still a huge risk because remember, FC Dallas isn't only looking to lock up the top spot in the Western Conference, they're looking for the Supporters Shield, the automatic qualifier for CONCACAF Champions League for the 2016-17 season.
All right, it is time now for the Master Electrical Keys to the Game.
Well, let's be honest, after last night's result, there's only one thing to play for, and that's pride. This is a proud organization with a long history of success and a rabid, opinionated fan base that isn't taking this season too well, and they shouldn't. This is professional sports. You're judged by wins and losses, and because of that, some people could be losing their jobs after the decision last night from the referee and a lapse in split-second decision-making across that back line. For the players who take the field, whoever shows up at Rio Tinto Stadium to support this group, this is a chance to prove you care about the badge on that chest, show some pride, Real Salt Lake fans, and make RSL more than just a hashtag.
All right, remember Dunny and I will have RSL's game with FC Dallas Saturday night, 7 o'clock. Our coverage begins here on KMYU. Of course, that is 2 long days away, and Dunny really doesn't want to go 48 hours without talking about soccer. So he's got social media. Remember, for more on the game, follow us on social media. Dunny's on Twitter and Instagram at Brian Dunseth, on Facebook at Brian Dunseth1. I'm on Twitter and Facebook at David DJ James. But the truth of the matter is social media isn't enough. What are you going to do with yourself Friday? Which corner of the country will you go to call a soccer game?
Yeah, I'm heading to Charlotte, North Carolina, ACC soccer. I'll be back on Saturday. After the game Saturday, red eye back to D.C.
Notre Dame?
Notre Dame, Virginia Tech, yeah. Busy weekend, busy weekend.
All right, Dunny's always calling it what network? Go ahead, we'll plug another network.
We're doing Fox Sports South for ACC, and then back here, and then doing a Chicago Fire DC game on Sunday. Busy. Just the way I like it.
Mama needs a new pair of shoes. All right, that's going to do it for us tonight. Thanks for joining us here for Talkin' Real. We will see you Saturday at 7 for RSL and FC Dallas. We'll be back here next Thursday night. Stay with us. Pac-12 NFL football highlights are coming up next on Talkin' Sports. Stay with us.